gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wednesday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you. But I'm not alone. No siree, I'm not. I've got all of you here with me. And not only you, but I've got my right-hand man right here next to me. I'm just doing this because he's actually over here, but he's over here on the camera, so... My right-hand man, my inspiration for bettering myself in every way, my confidant, my partner in crime, Mr. Don Longbeard. Welcome, brother.
I don't think this microphone's on. Hey, look. See that guy over there? The only thing I'll admit to being is his partner in crime.
Yes, you're the Bonnie to my Clyde. Sorry.
That's okay. You're my Robin to the Batman.
Ooh, all right. Who's Batman?
You'll never know.
Oh, okay.
You've never seen me and him in the same room together, have
That's true. I have not. It could be you, Don, except
It could be.
I didn't recall him having a beard either, though.
Well, you know.
All right.
Even the bat gets old.
Yeah, that's for sure. I can tell you, feeling the years myself there, Batman. But how you doing, man?
Oh, doing good. Doing good.
Good.
Yep, doing good. It's hump day.
It's hump day, and that always means the weekend is closer to reach than it was a couple days ago or even yesterday. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got a bunch of fun for you. Well, it is, right?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right, yeah.
I mean, I have a knack for stating the obvious, Don.
Well, apparently there, Captain.
It's a gift. We have a lot of fun on the deck for you tonight. We're going to get into all kinds of cool stuff. A little bit of forbidden archaeology, some weird things that were discovered that might mean that the history that we understand is not indeed the history that existed.
No.
So, just, I'm just saying, it's something to think about. And I'm not here to change anybody's mind. The Paranormal Portal is not here to make anybody believe anything. But we are here to have discussions, and that's what we do. Hey, Haxer, good to see you, brother. Good to see all of you. Yeah. A lot of people just coming in the door already, Don.
Yeah.
Because it's, we turn the lights on, and that's when the party starts.
Yeah, when we get 13 thumbs up, which we do.
Oh, fantastic.
I probably have more, but
well, there could be more.
Doesn't
Mine says refresh. 12 currently, but... I'm always refreshing later than you anyway, and I got the dry. I mean, I've got the command console here, and I still don't always have the right numbers. I don't know how that works, but anyway, we have a lot of fun lined up for you. Remember, during the course of the show, that if you have something paranormal of your own that you'd like to share, you can certainly call in and be a part of the discussion. That's always a possibility. You can call in by dialing 720-923-0500. 720 923 0500. Yes. We'll do the last part together. Obviously, we didn't rehearse that, ladies and gentlemen. That was cold. We just did that right now. We didn't rehearse anything. In fact, we never rehearse. This is just us in the raw and unpolished form that we live. So,
There's no camera magic here.
there's not any kind of magic here usually, except the magic of love that we share with all of you. So thank you for being here with us. But we get a lot to go through. We're going to get into some of that forbidden archaeology. We're going to get into some ghostly stuff, maybe some UFO stuff, and an old story about a Bigfoots in the South. And it's an article by our very good friend, Mr. Brent Swanser of Mysterious Universe. What happened?
A razor just popped in.
Oh, yeah. Raw and unpolished. There it is. Yep, that's us. There ain't much pretty, but by God, we'll be here the whole time to entertain you as best as we can. So I hope you guys are all ready, because it's about to get creepy. All right, folks, that's it. We are now underway here on the Paranormal Portal. And I don't know about you, Don, but you know what time it is?
Time for Alexa to stop playing spooky.
Oh, that's Native American flute.
Yeah, okay.
I love that. It's very relaxing. But we don't need it on the show, I guess. But I was going to say, it's time for the news. For the news, ladies and gentlemen, time for the Paranormal Portal news. Buckle in. It's going to get fun. All right, folks, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. We are your anchors. I'm, of course, Brent Thomas, joined by Mr. Don Longbeard. We are going to bring you the Paranormal Portal News as best we can.
I'll give you colorful commentary as we go along.
and it's not always brand news, but it's news.
Brand news.
I just made that up, I think. We don't always cover the brand news, but we cover the news. And so
something you may not have known before.
Something you might not have known before. And it's not always paranormal either, but it's always weird. Or at least interesting or exciting or something, you know. Try to have lots of fun with the news here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Most of this is tongue-in-cheek, but some of it is actually serious and interesting. So
some of it's seriously interesting.
Seriously. Yeah, well, we hope to keep you interested. I found one right off the bat here, and I've never seen a fish like this before. But Don, there's a fish that'll just make you smile. Well, or grimace, or hide your eyes in terror, however you look at it. But I'm here to tell you, nature's pretty unique, and sometimes you see things that you wouldn't expect to see. And I'm just going to let the article speak for itself. But this is a viral image that shows fish with human-like teeth.
His dad must have been a dentist.
Yeah, he got fitted for his false teeth. He
got orthodontics.
Yeah, he did. No, that's a fish, folks, and it's actually from North Carolina. I don't know what this fish eats, but those are like people teeth, and I didn't know. I know there's a type of piranha in South America, not the little ones that eat. They actually eat seeds, but they're related to piranhas, and they have teeth kind of like this. So I found this interesting when I found it, but I was like, God, that's strange. Let's read it and see what you guys think. It said, this peculiar fish, which looks like it could be due with a visit to the dentist, was caught in Nags Head, North Carolina. We've seen a number of fish with human-like teeth over the years, but this one, which was caught by Nathan Martin and posted on Jeanette's Pier Facebook page, is surely one of the strangest. Sporting several rows of familiar-looking gnashers, the fish, a sheep's head, is actually known for its human-like incisors and molars, which it uses to crush up barnacles, shrimp, and oysters, according to the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. When the image appeared online last week, social media users couldn't resist making jokes. Needs to floss, one user posted, while another likened the fish to the talking horse, Mr. Ed. It kind of does, doesn't it? How are you doing there? Mind if you go back in the water? Do you mind? That was my own joke. I don't know.
Oh boy.
All right. Anyway, I don't get paid for the humor, folks. That's free.
It falls flat and he gets a rim shot on it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
there we go. Is that better? Whether or not the fish ultimately ended up in someone's dinner plate, however, remains unclear.
Huh.
It could probably chew itself up.
Well, they're made to mash up shrimp and
Barnacles and shellfish.
Shellfish, yeah, that'll do it.
I mean, look at that mouth, though.
Out of them.
Look at that. It's like a whole bony plate. It looks like a rows of molars.
Maybe we should offer him a job. And now you're listening to the Paranormal
Color commentary. Yeah, it can be part of the newscast.
Well, that smells fishy.
Ooh. I'll give you that. All right. So that's the first one. That came from unexplained-mysteries.com, of course. And we have more. But wait, there's more, ladies and gentlemen. There's more. And the next one is, I thought this one was interesting. And it's not really creepy, weird, or anything. It's just kind of informative. And it's kind of neat, too, I think. I just hope it's not really long. Nope, it's not. Good. All right, because sometimes I pull these up and they're extraordinarily long and way too brainy for the likes of me. But anyway, this is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. Bronze Age village elder was found at a dig site. Archaeologists have made a fascinating discovery at an excavation site in Burwell, Cambridgeshire. Unearthed beneath a Bronze Age funerary mound. A funerary mound. Wow. I never even knew that word before right now. Okay. I'm just glad I pronounced it. The skeletal remains of a relatively muscular 40-year-old man are believed to be those of a village elder, according to reports. A timber post atop the mound indicated that someone of importance was buried here. Archaeologists have dated the burial between 2500 and 2000 BC. He must have been someone of importance to have a monument like that, some sort of village elder who was strong and had worked the land for years, said archaeologist Louise Moen. The excavation itself is being undertaken ahead of a new housing development at the site. Oh, wow. Get out with the old and with the new. Of a Bronze Age village that was once home to around 50 people. Evidence suggests that the village was quite prosperous and endured for over 300 years. Various artifacts, including a mold for a bronze axe head and a fragment of a shale bracelet, were also found at the site. So there it is. They found a elder at a 2,500-year-old village. That's kind of neat. Just right under their feet where they're going to put condos or whatever. So, I mean, why, there's probably history everywhere, really, right, Don?
Yep.
So, I mean, wherever you dig, you might just find a whole village or something. And, it can't save everything, but it does seem kind of sad that they're going to just,
tear it out.
Yeah.
Build right on top of it.
Yeah, throw some bones in a museum and call it a day with a few pictures.
Lucky if they get to the museum.
Yeah, what else? Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that's the Oxford Archaeology had posted this on their Twitter. The settlement respects a funerary monument built earlier in the Bronze Age, 2500 to 2000 BC. At the center was a complete male adult skeleton. I said funerary, but stuck on skeleton.
Yeah,
go figure.
Good job.
And a large post hole marking the site of his burial. So there you go. I don't know. Not really paranormal at all, but interesting. I hope you find that interesting as well because, hey, we all learned something today. The word funerary for me. I know that word. Not that one, but this one I thought was kind of interesting. Of course, the legend and mystery surrounding the great D.B. Cooper still hovers around, and people are still trying to dig into just what the hell happened. And while nobody knows for sure, there's still somebody digging, apparently. And this is on unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is Crime Historian Digs for D.B. Cooper Evidence. Looks like they made a composite aged version in case he's
A
just
composite
around.
of a composite.
They took the composite.
You do realize that picture would be him at like 80 years old, right?
Yeah,
Because if he did it when he was in his 30s,
right.
that was 50 freaking years ago.
He's looking good for 80 though.
Yeah,
don't you
he's
think?
looking good for 80. Yeah.
Yeah, seems to be that
Woo-hoo.
he's preserved quite well.
Well, it's the magic of the pencil.
Yes, the facial tone is all right. It's not all hanging below the chin.
Yeah.
A new effort is underway to uncover evidence that could help solve the infamous 50-year-old hijacking case. Amateur crime historian Eric Ulis is conducting a two-day dig along Washington's Columbia River, where he believes the mysterious hijacker, known as D.B. Cooper, may have buried some of the money he stole, as well as his parachute and briefcase. The hijacking occurred in 1971 when the mysterious man, who at the time went by the name Dan Cooper, boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 to travel from Portland to Seattle. During the trip, Cooper called over one of his flight attendants and asked them to write out a note declaring that he had a bomb in his briefcase and that the plane was being hijacked. When the aircraft stopped at Tacoma International Airport, he allowed the passengers to leave in exchange for 4 parachutes and the sum of $200,000 in cash. After the plane had taken off again, Cooper strapped the bag of money to himself and put on one of the parachutes and jumped out somewhere between Seattle and Reno. No trace of him was ever found. $6,000 of the ransom money, however, was later discovered by a young boy in Washington in the same area that Ulis is now searching in the hope of finding further clues. He believes that during their earlier investigation, the FBI had searched in the wrong area. As things stand, however, the FBI considers the case closed and is not looking to expect any more resources attempting to solve it. If Ulis is going to get to the bottom of the mystery, therefore, he'll need to go it alone.
So, do you know that story about the kid digging up that money?
Not really.
Okay, so I saw it a long time ago. I haven't looked it up in a long, long time, but there was this 10 or 11-year-old kid. They were out, him and his family were out on the banks of, maybe it was the Columbia, I can't remember. Maybe it was the Snake. I can't remember the name of which one it was. But and they found bills, like 20s and 50s, that had been burned. They were burned.
Oh.
There were burn marks in it, and it was old money. I mean, it was like Series A, money.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, so they made this big deal over it, and they found like less than like $500 total in all this money. And so that's what he's talking about the kid who found the money.
Uh-huh.
So it must have been the Columbia, but he strapped on 2, if I remember correctly. He wore 2 parachutes.
Oh, did he?
Military style, one front, one back.
Okay.
In case one failed.
Oh.
So, and so yeah, it's also, he wasn't hopping from like 10,000 feet. He hopped from like less than 10,000 feet. So he needs to stop a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
So, but anyhow.
Could he have survived it? That was the big question.
Yeah,
I think,
that is the big question. I think they'd find a grave instead of, grave with money.
Or
the money's gone.
A skeleton hanging from a tree somewhere with a couple duffel bags.
Yeah, no doubt. 2 unused parachutes for sale on eBay.
Going cheap.
Only used once.
Worn once, but never used.
Man.
I don't know. That's kind of interesting, though. I think that mystery is pretty intriguing.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's past. But if you follow the Marvel lore, it was Loki anyhow. So.
That's true. It was apparently Loki, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe not as fantastic as it sounds. But anyway, leave it to Loki. What the hell do we got? Oh, this is a weird one. I think I remember hearing about this one. This one's older, but I thought I'd pull it up because you ever wonder where that package is that you're waiting for? You ever been expecting that check in the mail or something like that and be like, God, when's it going to come? It's supposed to be here already.
Rachel, they believe that he was parachute trained by some type of military.
Yeah, like he was ex-military.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you've ever been waiting for something in the mail and it never came, we might have an answer to your question.
Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. And this is from July 13th of 2019. This is on unexplainedmysteries.com. And mystery as postman buries letters in forest. A Dutch postman was recently caught burying thousands of letters in holes that he had dug out in the woods. Police in the Netherlands made the peculiar discovery near the town of Laren on Wednesday after a member of the public reported coming across suspicious mounds of earth and a shovel.
Wow.
a rogue postman. I didn't know they had rogues.
Postman goes rogue. Next on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Whose name has not been disclosed had reportedly dug a total of 8 large holes in which they had buried thousands of letters over the course of several weeks. They were mostly bills, magazines, and publicity letters. Well, then it's not so bad.
No, not a big deal.
Said a postal company spokesperson. It was someone who has unfortunately not respected our work standards, and we are taking necessary measures. The letters that managed to remain in good condition have now been sent on to their recipients, while those that have degraded due to the damp conditions are now in the process of being destroyed. We very much regret what happened, said the spokesperson. Exactly why the postman buried the letters as he did, however, continues to remain a total mystery. I can see one guy that was trying to start his vacation a little early. After I delivered these letters, I'm going to deliver them all right.
I would deliver him right to Sasquatch. He can look at our trash.
And they're going to go right to hell. That's where they're going. No, there you go, folks. He's burying.
The fourth color says, LMAO, dude, I've been a postman for 8 years, and I swear it'd just be easier to deliver the stuff than bury it.
Amen. And you know, we like that kind of work ethic. I mean, that's kind of what they're looking for, I think.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out for you here, maybe you can go over to Denmark.
Yeah, Denmark might.
Apparently, they need some that have a little bit of pride in what they do.
Nowadays, in their questionnaire for, you know, when they're interviewing, can you actually deliver the mail, or do you know how to use a shovel too?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I have seen, there was this other postal carrier, and I saw this on the news or some video somewhere. But she was a postal carrier
from the dead letter office to the shovel.
Well, there's that, man. But this woman was a postal delivery carrier, and she had her truck, and she pulls up by this dumpster, and somebody caught her on CCTV, their security camera, and she's taking the bins of letters out of her truck and just dumping them in the dumpster.
Right.
And then she drives off. It's like, wow, how do you hate your job that much? Like, if you don't love your job, or if you really don't like your job, then probably you should just quit doing it.
You can find a new one.
Yeah, there's something
along.
More probably right along your skills and your work ethic, but dumping all that mail into dumpsters just because you don't like what you do, it's like, man, you gotta just hate people to do something like that. You gotta hate your life.
Well, you know, but think of this. You know, think of those pensioners and those retired people on, you know, getting their Social Security.
Oh yeah,
might not get their check, and
right.
Things are like, well, we sent it, so you must have got it. You know.
I know.
Governments, you know.
Yeah, or you know, we sent that bill already. You should have got it. Yeah. Now we're gonna have to go into legal action. It's like, I never got the bill. You know, but who believes that, right?
Right.
No, man, that's horrible. That's horrible. But there you have it, folks. That happens. Apparently not often. Obviously, most of our postal employees are amazing people that do great work, but it has happened. That's all I'm going to say. Here's a weird one as well. This one I thought was pretty bizarre, so we're going to do this one. And this will be our last article for the news. And this is apparently someone had a change of diet, was trying out a new diet, and it didn't work out real well for them. And this is unexplained-mysteries.com. Woman swallowed coin and lost voice for 12 years.
Who put a quarter in her? Apparently there's a lot of quarters because she shut the hell up.
That was the shut the hell up slot. Yeah. When Marie Heffernan unknowingly swallow. How do you unknowingly swallow?
How do you
coin?
Unknowingly swallow your dentures? Let's get real.
Well, at least he was having a surgery.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, he was knocked out. This person unknowingly swallowed a coin as a teenager. her life took a sudden turn for the worse. Heffernan, who was only 13 at the time, was told by doctors that her lost voice was due to an acute case of bronchitis and laryngitis.
Forever?
Did nobody think of an x-ray? I mean, didn't that come up?
Well, I mean, when you open your mouth, you stick your tongue out and go,
Yeah.
Come on.
If she produces change when she coughs.
Here, let me get you change for that. 75 cents.
Yep. But when her symptoms failed to improve, adjusting to life without a voice left her feeling both socially isolated and increasingly fearful as she may never speak again.
Her husband loves it.
Yes, it's nice. Ooh. I just started high school, and it was frightening. I didn't know what was going on, and neither did the doctors. Again, didn't anybody look? Who did they go to? What kind of doctor? A witch doctor? The feather says bad.
Put the lime in the coconut.
Yeah. She said people's reactions changed over time. First, their reaction was one of surprise and shock, but over the months, when my voice didn't return, it became something else. People don't know what to say to my parents. They just stopped talking to me at all. Then one day, 12 years later, while sitting at work, Heffernan suddenly started to choke on something and managed to cough up a 1959 threepence. Turned out that the coin had been lodged in her vocal cords, preventing them from vibrating. Almost immediately, she started to make sounds again, and within 2 weeks, she began to string words together. Her story would go on to make headlines across the country. I couldn't believe it. It's still a mystery how I swallowed the coin, a threepence which wouldn't have been in circulation, she said. The only thing we can think is that it must have been in a can or bottle or soft drink.
How can you not notice?
I know, but you're not inhaling soft drinks. I mean, yeah, you know? That's some weird stuff. Or she got into some...
What happened was she had a coin in her mouth doing something stupid. She fell down, she gasped for air, and she sucked it down her throat, and she was too embarrassed to tell somebody, and then eventually she forgot about it. But I don't know how you forget about that for 12 years.
And then to just cough it up suddenly.
Just cough it up.
Like after 12 years, like, and there's a coin. Really? I don't know how you do that. But still, what kind of... Did she go to a doctor of art?
Ruger says, I find this story hard to swallow. That's another thing. How did she eat?
How did she breathe if that was blocking her vocal cords? I don't know. That's pretty weird.
Man, if she got into metal music, she would have never had a problem. It would have come up a long time ago.
Yeah. That's strange, folks, but that's what we like here in the Paranormal Portal. Lots of strangeness on the Paranormal Portal news. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our news broadcast for the day. Let's get back to the regularly scheduled program.
Which is pretty much the same.
Which is a lot of the same. But at least this has a different background. We got a different background for this, so it's the news.
She coughed it up and goes, here's my 3 cents. My 3 pence.
Yeah, jeez. I mean, just an x-ray at any point would have solved that mystery, Scooby. You know, like, you know, doesn't doctor imply that you're going to do some tests?
You know, you would think, though, you know, with the miraculous miracle that has become medical science, they would have, like, scoped it or, you know, something. Or if she ever had an MRI or a like you said, an x-ray of her head. Yeah. You know, I mean, now they x-ray your teeth when you go to the dentist. They would have seen it.
You'd think, right?
Hey, there's something occluding your vocal cords. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, I mean, my God. Well, there you go, folks. That's the strangeness that we like, though. That's the weirdness that is the portal. And that's why we love the news. The news.
The news.
So, let's get to some other strangeness here, folks, because we're just cruising along. It's yeah, I mean, that was literally 28 minutes.
Nice. Wow.
That's pretty good. That's pretty darn good. We're going to get into another article now, folks, dealing with some ghostly stuff. And then we're going to get into more stuff later. But
she was playing quarters and accidentally swallowed the quarter. That might be true, Brooks.
That could be. They use a 3 pence instead. Not sure how big a 3 pence is.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know my English money, especially a 19. What'd you say? A 56?
53.
Something like that. Yeah,
like that.
that's an old 3 pence. Yeah, that's weird.
Wouldn't it have caused like a metallic taste in your mouth?
I don't know if it's on your vocal cords, though. You're not really tasting it.
Well, but I mean, you would have had to have coughed. Had she never, coughed or, I mean, come on. There's got to be more to it than that.
I don't know.
She faked
Stage fright for 12 years.
She was like, well, I always say, the less you say, the less people expect, So.
Yeah. Well, there's that. All right, so we're going to go to an article, and this one is called, and this is the actual title. This isn't me making it up, but it's from ranker.com, and the article is called 22 Times People Have Maybe Actually Probably Encountered a Ghost by Jordan Myrick from April 23rd of 2020. Again, this is on ranker.com, so let's see what people said. We got 22 of them to go. Number 1. Peace and no ghosts be with you. From Redditor Marlena Katz. Okay. Me and my fiance recently moved into our first place together, and it's a very nice, quiet townhome, right across from the senior assisted living. We have 2 empty rooms, and one of them is painted blue, and we get a normal vibe from that one. The sun shines through the window, and it's very bright. It feels good. Keep in mind the windows in both of the rooms are both facing the same direction, right next to each other. Next, there's a yellow room. We can't stand to be in there. Open the window, it was still dark. Feels like someone's watching. There's even a weird mirror in there. It also facing the assisted living community now for the action.
Oh, sweet.
One night, we start talking about how creepy the room is and that we think it's haunted. Blah, blah, blah. Then we get this terrifying, awful feeling along with chills. Literally goosebumps. So I did the only thing I knew to do growing up in a religious home. Jesus. I tried to cast it out in the name of Jesus.
Jesus is with a small j.
Yeah, it's got a small j. That's not the right one. Maybe that was their problem. They said it with a small j.
That's Jesus.
Yeah. That must have upset this thing because one it was like I almost couldn't speak, and 2, the chills and bad feeling intensified by 50 times. Next, we hear a loud noise. Then we check. All the doors in the house were open. They weren't before because we shut everything and turned all the lights out before going to bed. So we try and pray. We aren't very religious at all, so that's not normal for us.
Yeah, piety helps.
What?
Some piety helps.
Piety? Oh, piety. Yeah. You mean piety?
I said piety.
I was thinking peyote or piety. Where are we going with this?
Would be peyote.
And read a Bible. Feel a lot better. But we call a friend to talk about the encounter because we felt more chills. Mm-hmm. We hear another noise. Go to check. Doors are open again after we shut everything for the second time. But this time, along with the doors open, were open cabinets in our kitchen. And that's the end of the story. So it's a cliffhanger, folks. We don't know what happened after that, but yeah, that's might be time to paint that room. Get rid of that damn mirror too.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: mirrors for the most part are benign or whatever, but they are often, many people believe, they can be gateways, and they can be activated as gateways using certain rituals in certain practices. So it is believed. But if you get a creepy feeling in a room and there's a big mirror, start with the mirror and get it the hell out.
That's definitely a good point. Or just, suck up a whole lot of, nutmeg and hallucinate and see what's in there. Let's check it out.
Piety. Absolutely. All right. The next one is a ghost dog. And this is by Stevie768. I took my dog out for a walk around 8 p.m., early springtime, I believe, because it was dark. On a road that is straight but uphill and leads into a sewage treatment center. I hope that's important to the whole story, because otherwise, why do we need to know that?
The story's already poopy.
Yeah. As I'm walking up the road, a car drives past me and gets to the top. It's a dead end. Turns around, headlights beaming towards me. I walk halfway up the road and start to walk back. In the distance, I can see two black figures, clearly a man and a small dog, and at this point they must be at least 200 meters away.
That's a long way.
It is. As I start getting closer to the figures, I shorten my dog's lead and move onto the opposite side of the road. My dog had a bad attitude with other dogs, so I was being careful. At around 50 meters apart from the figures, they're still hard to make out. There are no lights down this road, and the only source of light is the car behind me, at least 400 meters away.
Jesus.
My dog starts trying to pull on the direction of the small dog, and I'm holding her back. It's at this point I start getting a little weirded out. I'm now close enough that I should be able to make out features, but the figures seem to be slightly transparent. My dog is still trying to drag us over them. I get about 5 feet from the figures, and they just disappear into the grass behind them. I walk away thinking that it was obviously just our shadows from the car up the road. On my way home, though, it runs through my mind. Why wasn't the figure moving? The figure just stood there. My shadow would move with me. Why wasn't the shadow changing size/direction or anything a shadow would normally do? The figure was a man and a small dog. I'm a man with a Malamute, not a small dog at all. Nothing about it acted like a shadow, and is the single creepiest thing I have experienced. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. I don't know. I guess they got to walk their dogs too.
Yeah.
they got to do what they got to do.
You know, it's interesting. How did you go from like 200 meters seeing this shadowy thing with the dog, 200 meters, and the light behind you is 400 meters away?
Right.
And it's like, what? And then when he gets up to it, he's 5 feet from it, even though he's across the street.
Yeah, it must be.
He's only 5 feet from it.
Must be a really narrow road.
Well, isn't 5 feet like 1.5 meters? A meter and a half.
Yeah,
Why
I
wouldn't
guess
you
it
say
would be.
meter and a half instead of 5 feet?
That is weird. Yeah, he changed his measurements there, huh?
Yeah.
At least his titling.
Because people who say meters usually say a meter and a half.
Right.
They don't say 5 feet. Unless you're, Australian or something. I don't know. Our Aussie friends are just kind of weird.
They are a bunch of wonderful people, that's for sure. All right, number 3, the Fitbit knows. This is by Ghost or Not. So I'll state that I do not believe in ghosts. That's how they always start. You get some of the most amazing stories this way. It starts out, I don't believe in ghosts, but this one time. And they'll go on to talk about this really fascinating, amazing activity. And then they end up again at the end, but I don't believe in ghosts, but I don't know what that was. It's like, how about ghost? Maybe it was a ghost. Just saying. I was going to throw that out there and just, let it linger and see what you think. So I will state I do not believe in ghosts, but strange things keep happening that have no good explanation. That's exactly my point. About a month ago, I walked into the bedroom to talk with my wife, who was just waking up. I noticed that her wedding ring was on the foot of our bed, on the footboard. I pointed it out, and we freaked out because we almost lost a wedding ring, probably our single most valuable possession. But we couldn't find an explanation for how it got off her finger during the night and somehow miraculously ended up on the footboard. It's very hard to get off of her finger, and we do have pics of it on her finger with our dog the night before. It was strange enough that we decided to set up a Nest cam in our room just to watch. Mm-hmm. Like idiots, we didn't get the Nest subscription to save the video. When my wife woke up this morning, her Fitbit was on the side table when she had it on the night before when she went to sleep. Now, Fitbits track things. They track lots of things like sleep, schedules, heartbeats, and even movement. Thinking it was strange that we had a genius idea to look at the logs. Sure enough, at 11:53, the tracking of the Fitbit abruptly stops. 1 hour before this happened, her heart rate suddenly went through the roof, resting heart rate around 60. Her heart rate went up to about 160. Wow. For the next hour, she slept soundly without any movement and without waking up, and suddenly the tracking just ceased. Now, we quickly found out that the night of the ring occurrence was on the night of the 15th of last month, We just checked and her heart rate had a similar spike last month. However, when we checked several other days at random, we didn't see any spikes. These occurrences we thought were strange at the time, so they are noted. However, when we started to think back, there have been about 5 to 6 other strange things. I have a deaf dog. She never barks. She used to when she could hear other dogs, but she is since completely deaf for about 9 years now. Last night, while watching Community, go Netflix, she started barking at random in the kitchen. It was strange enough that we had a conversation about it, but ultimately settled on her being a weird dog. This is only strange in connection to the Fitbit incident. In our household, we have very strict rule about unplugging the toaster. That's because on 2 occasions, once about a year ago and another 2 years ago, our toaster would simply start heating up in the middle of the night and stay burning for the rest of the night.
Wow.
Once it caused a big fire burn on the wall, and another time it was in a bread box and cooked all the bread. Jeez. Which is what toasters should do, by the way. They do cook bread. It caused damage to the door and melted all the plastic to itself. We found both in the morning still hot, and earlier this week we found the toaster plugged in and neither of us has used it in the past few weeks. The rule is so harsh about unplugging it that if you fail to unplug it when you use it, you lose internet and phone privileges for a week. I should mention there are no kids. It's just my wife and I. No, I think there's 2 kids.
Yeah.
They need to punish each other. Oh, that's it. You're going without internet and phone.
You know, that's interesting. But those kind of stories always make me wonder about like sleepwalking and things like that. Because, I mean, if the Fitbit was registering spikes and, you know, but it's not going to really register, you know, too much. It's not going to register too much in footsteps. I mean, if you just kind of walk, if you went to the bathroom and came back, big deal, right? Okay, right. So you're supposed to be in bed. It probably wouldn't even, I mean, having a watch that tracks my stuff like that, it probably wouldn't even register that you got out of bed, honestly.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I don't own one,
but I
so
mean,
I don't know what
just,
they do.
you know, her getting up now, they said it was hard for her to get a ring off. Great. But you can do a lot of things that you don't normally do when you're asleep.
That could be.
So, you know, taking it off when she went to the bathroom, took it off for whatever reason to wash her hands when she was done, whatever. And then instead of putting it back on her finger, she put it on the footboard. Okay, great. Sure. You know, but the toaster, I mean, people have done some. There's this guy called the Penguin Man.
Okay.
His wife records him while he's asleep. He says some of the most says and does some of the most atrocious stuff when he's asleep. and it's just look it up, the Penguin Man. Anyhow, but you want to talk about weird stuff people do in sleep? There you go. So, you know, I mean, you know, the toaster now, how you make the toaster stay down while it's not, you know, toasting, you know, bread. I don't know, but I mean, you know, whatever.
Well, that's strange. I mean, that's dangerous too. It almost seems diabolical. It's like, why the hell would you do the toaster thing? Maybe it's trying to start a fire.
I don't know.
But I will say, you know, speaking of, there's another video that I saw of this woman, and she's asleep, and I guess her husband recorded her, or they have like a indoor security camera and it records her. And she's having conversations and doing all kinds of really big gestures and walking around, and I guess she's going outside a few times. So yeah, there's some people that really deal with that, but you know, I don't know. That doesn't mention anything about sleepwalking, but I guess
is it Rachel that said that? Let me back up here. Yeah, it's Rachel says couldn't be haunted by a ghost that makes a proper omelet. Nope, just burnt toast.
Yeah, proper omelet would be awesome. I want the ghost that vacuums. I'm just saying that to me would be a good ghost, the one that just vacuums.
My omelet this morning was bacon, sweet peppers, and onions, cheese on top, cup of coffee. Oh, I'm good.
All right, number 4 is Shirtless Man. And this is from Jess for Less. I don't know if Jess for Less. Okay. I'll be honest, I've never been one that believes in ghosts. That's always the first liners. I always thought it was silly, and when people told me of paranormal experiences, I was just like, yeah, okay, sure. Until recently. I moved in with my grandmother in a new house together. The house had been built since the 60s, around the 60s, but it was updated to look newer. Things were great. But then about 2 months after we moved in, I saw something. In the doorway that leads to the back wing of the house, back where my bedroom is, I saw a man for just a split second. I just glanced in the doorway and saw him, and when I blinked, he was gone. It was one of those moments where I wasn't sure if I was just tired or what, but it was a younger man in his 20s. He was tall and had a brown hair and was slim. I saw that much of him. I didn't say anything to my grandmother because I thought I was just silly. But then she started seeing things. It says I don't know. It's just I period. Okay. And home from work maybe I came home from work one day. And she told me she saw the face of a man peek out from that same doorway. He had brown hair, and at this point I was just a bit weirded out. And from then on, we have seen small things like shadows. Things seemed to sprint past out of the corner of our eyes. But even with all of that, I was skeptical and thinking it was just us being paranoid. But then last night happened. I saw him. He was there in my room. I was dead asleep at 4 a.m. and something woke me up. I don't know what it was, but I jolted awake, and there standing beside my bed looking at me, just watching me, was a man. He was shirtless and he was slim. He had a young face and brown hair. His skin was a pale purple. I felt my blood run to ice. I've never moved so fast in my life. I jumped and stumbled out the other side of my bed to scramble to the light switch. I turned on the lights, and there was nobody there. He was gone. My heart was racing so fast I thought I was going to pass out. I couldn't make myself turn the light back off. I sat there in my bed with the lights on until morning. I'm currently exhausted, but I saw this man in detail. It was not a dream, and now I don't know what to do. I don't want to believe, but I saw him, and now I don't know what I'll do. I don't want to go back to sleep. It seems to be only in my room in the back wing, I think, of the house that this spirit lurks in. However, as terrified as I am, I do not believe that this spirit is evil or means any harm. He's only been peaceful. There's no slamming doors or knocking things off tables or anything like that. It doesn't appear that he's trying to scare me. He seems curious to me. He's always peeking around but doesn't stay. And I feel that last night he was just watching me curiously, but I'm freaked out. However peaceful the spirit is, it's utterly terrifying to wake up and see someone beside your bed. Now, I guess I'm looking for answers on what to do. I guess I'm looking at how to make peace with this spirit. I don't know what else to do. Update. Just learned from a neighbor that the man that lived in this house before us was a man who died in his 40s. He died in the house. Oh, well, that can do it. That can certainly do it.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
What?
Look, there was a lady who married a 300-year-old ghost.
Well, there is that. Yeah, there's the one that married one of the pirates. Yep. There's a lady that married a chandelier, too. We covered that one on Saturday. That was good.
That was enlightening.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
So, you know, that's odd because the other night I was laying in bed and I was turned on my left side with my back to the wall.
Okay.
You know, I sleep on the right side of the bed, so I'm sleeping on my left. So my back's towards the wall where I, get out of bed because I get out on the right side every morning.
Okay. Get out of the right side of the bed.
But it was late at night. I keep hitting that damn thing.
Start your day right.
I see.
Thank you.
Dawn is always right. Remember that. Anyhow, so I was laying there and my window was open. You know, it's been kind of cool. You know, so it was like really cold. It was actually cold that night, but I was laying there and I had the covers off me and I was laying there and I felt something like touch my hip.
Oh.
And then but it was like this cold, right? And it was just in this one area.
Nice.
And it went up my side into my arm. And my arm got cold, but my arm was crossed over like this, laying on my side, so it wasn't like. And then it kind of went down partially down my leg, and I'm laying there. I'm like, That's weird. I'm thinking to myself, that felt like something touched me, and everything kind of just went cold.
Uh-huh.
And then I fell back to sleep because I wasn't going to turn over and look. I was like, screw it. I'm going back to sleep.
So, yeah, I mean, that could very well be. And I suppose, I mean, you've been there a while, so
Yeah.
there hasn't been any other real activity, has there?
Not according to me.
Well, yeah, I know you have a pretty strict criteria for activity, but
Yes, I do. Yeah,
but-
that's true. But that was kind of odd because it did feel like something, just touching, just like, okay, just calm down or something.
and it's cold too, and that's
it was
always
cold.
reported.
It was icy cold.
Yeah, that's
And it was just a certain part. My window was open. It was a little breeze blowing on my back, but it was that area was cold.
wow.
And then it just kind of went away.
Well,
I'm like, well, screw this. Don's not interested.
Don is not a very fun date, apparently, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope.
Not if he's sleeping. Oh, that's strange. Well, maybe he had a visitor, Don. Someone
Maybe.
stopping by.
Maybe.
All right, number 5 is the ghost piano. This is from Redditor Brock-Murphy. My aunt ran an inn that opened in the 30s. It was majestic and catered to the haves that came for the warm spring water. And upon her death, she left my family a 1943 Nabe grand piano, which used to reside in the entertainment room of the inn.
Mm-hmm.
The piano was moved to the family home. It resided there for 3 years before the event. I was newly married. My wife and I were home alone due to my parents being on vacation. For your information, it was great having the house to ourselves. Okay. What are you, a teenager? We were upstairs in the bedroom, which was located above the piano on the lower floor, and I had the reading light on, and my wife had turned on her side facing towards the wall away from me. 10 to 15 minutes passed, as expected, uneventful. Then, as I was reading, I became aware of distant piano music. Let me be clear. When in the bedroom, above the piano, when it was being played, it was loud. A baby grand with the top propped open is capable of surprising volume when called upon. But that's not what I was hearing. The piano music was coming from the location of the piano, but its sound acoustically was different. Similar to a person playing the recording of a piano at a low volume from the piano's location. But it wasn't a recording because you could still feel the resonance. Well, I placed the book that I've been reading to my chest, and simultaneously my wife, without turning over, reached behind her, placed her hand on my forearm and said, "Do you hear that?" The adrenaline went through me without moving a muscle. Her confirmation triggered it.
Yep, I bet it did.
After retrieving a shotgun and having a quiet and hurried brief discussion, I made my way downstairs. I knew I'd be able to flood the downstairs with light by clicking on the light switch at the top of the stairs, which gave me comfort. The piano sat at the bottom left of the stairs, partially obscured by the wall. I quietly reached around the corner to the light switch with my right hand while holding the shotgun in my left. All the while, the piano music remained soft, light but consistent. I clicked the switch and no lights. No lights.
Bum, bum, bum.
Panic set in. Then my racing mind remembered that when retiring for the evening, my wife had flipped the downstairs switch, which worked identically as the switch at the top in cutting the downstairs off, meaning if I wanted the overhead lights on downstairs, I'd have to walk down the stairs in the dark, click the switch at the bottom of and have the lights come on with me only feet away from the piano. "Hey, hey," I hollered from the top of the stairs, now that my element of surprise was shot. "I'm armed with a shotgun and will blow your head off, man." I meant it. I began my descent. The music had stopped at some point. I was too shook to remember exactly when. I reached the third to the last step and clicked the light switch, with gun pointed straight at it. There was nothing. No one. I searched the doors, the laundry area, behind the bar. Nothing. The piano stayed at the house for another 19 years without another event or occurrence. Although moving out, we'd shared the story with my folks, and from their accounting, they never experienced what we did. Huh. Well, I don't know. If it was nice music, what's the harm in that, right? Maybe the old piano had a memory, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the aunt liked playing it so much that it was like imbued with her, love of playing the piano, and it just kind of gently plucked the strings.
Yep.
Instead of,
Instead of banging out some Beethoven. Bum, 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 bum. All right, number 6, Ghost of the Living. Oh, this sounds interesting. This is from
Ghost of the Living.
J.T. Lennon. We recently lost our home in a fire and are staying in a temporary accommodation. Having lost most of our belongings, it's a tough time to be relying on support from others, and we try to maintain a healthy distance when my mom stops by to drop off toilet paper and other basics. What? A healthy distance? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Okay, well, she calls when she arrives, and we meet her at the back door. Visits take place on the back deck with 2 meters distance between us. Is this COVID kind of thing?
Maybe, because 2 meters would be
6
a little more than 6 feet, yeah.
This morning, I was washing some dishes when I first felt and then saw my mom standing very close over my right shoulder. When I did only see her in my peripheral vision, I saw enough to clearly make out her distinct figure in her clothing. She wore a white jersey knit, 3/4 sleeve t-shirt, and gray drawstring sweatpants. It is uncharacteristic of her to leave the house in loungewear, and equally uncharacteristic of her to just let herself in. I was startled as I knew the door was locked and hadn't heard anyone enter. When I turned, there was nobody there. I was very confused and a bit shaken. My partner suggested I call my mom to check in, and when I told her what I'd saw, she said she was wearing that exact outfit yesterday morning, but not today at that time of the incident. When I told her what time it happened, she said that around that time, she was distressed over some family issues and thinking about me. Wow, did she project herself?
Yeah.
Yeah, did the mom project a tulpa or something? A thought form? That's pretty cool. She might be a powerful mom. She could be.
Is she redhead Italian?
I have no idea. Didn't go into the specifics, but maybe. All right, we got the next one, number 7, Beach Ghost. This is a short one by Ivy Merrill. Marryl. Merrill. That's a neat spelling. This year, my family went to the beach for a night swimming, and some moment later, I got, out of the ocean and suddenly saw a small child wearing an oversized black hoodie, and I thought it was just one of my little cousins. My older and younger cousin noticed the child walking too, and I was concerned, thought it might be lost, so I shouted, "Hey, hey!" just acting brave and stuff, and I suddenly stopped following the small child, and I saw it fading with the darkness and suddenly disappeared. To this day, I still have no idea what the hell happened. No one would believe us, only me and my 2 other cousins saw it happening.
Black-eyed children.
I was thinking the same thing, right?
There's nothing else I could think.
Yeah, Renee, we're not on Truth TFR on Wednesdays, just Friday, Saturday. So Friday, Saturday night, we are broadcasting on Truth Frequency Radio as well, TFR Live. But on Wednesdays, we're just doing, this is just a YouTube show. So
now we're just independently broadcasting.
Yep, we're just independently broadcasting on our YouTube channel. So that's why we're not there. But thanks for checking over there. That's cool. Postman goes rogue. Yeah. Maggie, did you just get that story, Maggie?
I think she needs to refresh her screen.
Yeah, you might have to refresh, Maggie. That was like, I don't know, 20
minutes ago.
30 minutes ago.
She is definitely echoing from the past.
That's like a residual haunting.
Oh, my.
Ooh. All right. Number 8, Don't Sleep. This will be the last one we read for tonight. Don't Sleep from Redditor Jenny Teresa, 28. An older woman passed away in our apartment 1 month before we moved in. We were only changing units with the same complex, so we had seen her around. Well, one night while sleeping in our king-size bed, I woke up to feel what I thought was my husband rubbing my lower back.
Oh, my.
As I turned around to see why the hell he was doing this in the middle of the night, I came to see that he was facing the other direction and was lying a good 2 feet away from me. Then, a few nights ago, I felt 4 strong pulls on the covers that I had wrapped around me. 4 quick, very strong pulls in succession. This was weird because my husband had once felt 4 quick pushes on his shoulder while he was sleeping, but hadn't told me about it so I wouldn't be scared. Weirdly enough, nothing ever happens when we are awake. Nothing ever moves, goes missing, doors don't creak, nothing. Which kind of makes me think we are imagining things, but it seems too much of a coincidence. So here's something that I kind of think goes on in some of these newly deceased kind of experiences, is that I think some spirits kind of remain earthbound because they really don't know what the hell's going on. Like, I don't know how this woman passed or what the situation was, but maybe she never like fully grasped the idea that she died. And so
Right.
she may not be, I don't know, fully cognizant, but only during the night, maybe she comes around and she's in this state of confusion. Like, what are these people doing in my house?
What are they doing in my bed?
Right. Whose bed is this? This isn't even my bed. How did they move that in? What's going on? You know, poking, rubbing the back like, hey, what are you doing here? And then another night tugging on the covers and the husband getting pushed. It's like she's probably like in the state of confusion. And I don't know why that happens or what the situation is with some people. But that does seem to be a situation. Like some cultures have a period of time after somebody passes where they keep the mirrors covered in homes for 3 or more days or a period of time, weeks. They observe certain rituals to help the person that passed to find their way to the next life. One of which is, like I mentioned, covering the mirrors with black cloth. And that's so that the spirit won't get trapped in the mirror realm. And that way they will, at some point find the light or find that transition. But they're oftentimes in this weird state. And so I wonder if that's not what's going on in a story like this. This woman passed, maybe doesn't realize what the hell's going on, and is just kind of coming in bits and pieces. Like, why are there people here? Well, who are these people? I know them, but they shouldn't be sleeping here. That kind of thing. So.
Andrew Purity says, if they are confused and they don't know they're dead, then do they go to work and do their regular routine? Wouldn't they realize that no one notices them after a couple of days? I would say no, probably not, because they can't. Well, I would say no. I would say no, they don't notice it.
I think that confusion, it's not like they're always in a state like we are from the time we wake up until we go to bed. I think they're just in these flashes of consciousness in this weird state. Like they're kind of between, like perhaps they're not fully aware of this realm, but they become aware in moments or at certain times perhaps. I don't think it's like they're just kind of stuck going, well, what the hell am I doing here? Mm-hmm. I got to be at work. I better get going. It's not like there's not the same continuity because they're in this state of flux. I think that the consciousness is in a state of flux at this time. Mm-hmm. And so they don't transition because they don't realize that they should, or, they're not aware of that, but they're also not really here either. So they're like in this really confused place. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what happens is just they get moments of clarity and then they're like, hey, what's going on here? This isn't my stuff. What's going on? What's going on in my house? The reason that I think that, and I've shared this on the show a few times, was my grandmother had dementia in her final parts of her life, and it was a long, painful process. And she was in a nursing home care for a while, and she was kind of there sometimes and not, and she would have these moments where she broke through, and I often thought, is that kind of what these spirits would experience? Like they're not. Like is the dementia or Alzheimer's, is it like having a foot in both worlds? Maybe they're kind of here, but they're kind of not. And like one time I was visiting her at the nursing home and she's like talking with me and I can tell she's agitated. And I'm like, after a while of talking with her and visiting, I'm like, Grandma, are you okay? What's wrong? And then she kind of leans in close and she goes, I don't mind if people come over, but when are these people going to go home? And I was like, oh, and then I just focused on, well, it's nice that people want to come visit you and stay with you. I said, that's really wonderful. And she goes, yeah, it is. And then she kind of transitioned again. And it was just a moment where she was she was kind of suddenly aware of the situation, but not really.
Right.
And so I kind of wonder if that's not the same thing in some of these spiritual experiences. Like, they're not really aware, but they're kind of get these glimpses of what's going on, and they're still confused. They don't really understand. So just a thought. I don't know, it's not worth anything necessarily, but it seems to make sense to me. But anyway.
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I'm glad. I mean, it's just an idea, but all we got is ideas, ladies and gentlemen. We just don't know. But that's why I love the show, is that we can have discussions like this and talk about ideas. That is fun. Yeah, it is gut-wrenching. You're right. It's tough to see these people that, we're such amazing parts of our life become
right
lost, and we can't really find them. And it's a helpless feeling. And, you just want to, grab them and say, no, come back. But they're just kind of in their own place. All right. So that was that article, folks. I hope you liked that. There's more to go, obviously. Oh, I never went back to the full third screen. My apologies.
Oh.
You've been just looking at Don and I this whole time. I've been reading along. I meant to be here, but
is that?
How boring is that? Just watching us breathe. It could be a spectator sport. I don't know. But we got other articles that I want to cover, and one of it is the it's the forbidden archaeology, and it's not really listed as such, but this is an article that I found. It's not a huge article, but it goes over a lot of strange things that archaeologists have discovered. And here are 11 of the most mysterious archaeological discoveries that were ever made. And this is coming from curiosities.com. And it's written by Ivan Petracevic. I don't know how to pronounce that for sure. But it's from March 9th of 2019. It's only a 5-minute read, but I'm betting I can stretch that out. I love this picture because this is comes up in the article.
That's a big freaking knife.
I know, right? That is a huge knife. Wonder what that sandwich looks like. Just saying. We'll get to that in a minute.
I wonder what the woman looks like that wields it.
Ooh. Yeah.
Don't make her mad.
What the heck? It starts out. As best-selling author Graham Hancock has said, "We are a species with amnesia," and most scholars would agree with that quote. For as long as the human race has existed, we have tried to understand our origins and life meaning, but the more we search, the more we know how little we know about our origins. Did mankind originate on one continent and spread across the world later? How did humans evolve? How come there are so many gaps in human history? And where are we going as a species? Many questions remain unanswered. Yeah, that's all of them. I got a ton more to add, but anyway. However, thanks to countless archaeological discoveries made across the world, we're beginning to understand humankind's history is far more complex than we ever imagined. Evidence of our history's complexity are the many archaeological discoveries that have been made throughout the centuries that point towards a complex species that achieved unimaginable things.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. This is a deep ventilation well in Derinkuyu underground city. Wow. People made that. It's just amazing the things that the ancient peoples were able to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say that most of them weren't done by willing people, but, there was a lot of perhaps slavery or whatever. But
sure.
It says the underground city of Derinkuyu. Located in Turkey, this mind-bending underground city was excavated and built thousands of years ago. It is a fascinating achievement of ancient engineering and skills. Somehow, the ancients managed to excavate several hundred meters into the Earth's surface, building what is now considered the largest underground city on the planet. The city's history and origin are shrouded in mystery, and no one has been able to explain why or how the city was built fully. Some experts have theorized the city was built to protect ancient people from climate change. Oh.
Well, that could be true.
I wonder what climate they were protected from.
Well, there's been several floods.
Sure, but if it was built, how long ago did they say? I got to see here. Wait. Where was it? It was thousands of years ago, but we don't know how many thousands.
Yeah, no hint there.
Would you want to be underground, though, if you were trying to hide from a flood?
Well, so the Hopi Indians and their Ant-Men.
Sure.
You know,
well,
there
that's
was
true.
some kind of cataclysm that
Yep.
that the wow, that was loud. That the ant people had come and took them underground to avoid this
Yep.
cataclysm of some type.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's true.
there's a lot of history out there, that kind of stuff that gets lost. But anyhow, I
Yep.
digress.
Yeah, but that's a curiosity. But I mean, when you look at these things, look at these images.
Yeah.
Now, this was probably all some kind of bed or, some kind of foundational rock.
Right.
And they carved this out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the achievements that were made. And I'm sure it took quite a long time. But I mean, just imagine that. Wow. The Long U Caves are a series of artificially carved caves that date back more than 2,000 years. The caves are one of the largest structures ever excavated by human hands. First discovered in 1992, 24 caves have been found to date, one of which has been developed as a tourist attraction. Interestingly, to date, not a single historical record has been found that details or explains the monumental construction process that involved removing more than 1 million cubic meters of rock. Wow. And how long would that take?
Yeah.
Yeah, these stone spheres are another one. But I think some people have speculated that they're naturally forming, and I don't know how. But a stone sphere excavated by experts in Costa Rica. This Earth has some massive balls. No, really.
Okay.
That's what it says. I didn't write this, folks. I'm just reading it. Giant stone spheres have been discovered on several continents. Costa Rica is home to the largest number of stone spheres, although reports of their existence have been documented in Europe and in other parts of the world. The stone spheres were discovered for the first time in 1930, when construction workers were clearing the jungle to build a banana plantation. No one quite understands why the spheres were built and what their true purpose is. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge stone.
That's a big stone. Yeah.
Wow. And I guess they're really, geometrically, they're very close to being perfectly spherical. Like, even, mathematically. And how they achieve that is one of those things.
Right.
One of those enduring mysteries. Of course, the pyramids would come up on this list.
Of course.
The Great Pyramid of Giza and its ability to produce energy, not a conspiracy, but a proven fact. I didn't know that was proven, but I believe it's right. That it produces energy?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The Great Pyramid of Giza is one of the most impressive structures ever built in ancient times. It is the only standing ancient wonder, and it is a monument that has survived the test of time. Built thousands of years ago using known construction methods. I didn't know that. To date, we still have no idea what the purpose of the Great Pyramid was.
True.
Some suggest it was built as a tomb. I don't believe that. Although no evidence to support this theory has ever been found. A study performed in 2018 and published in the Journal of Applied Physics suggested that Giza's Great Pyramid can focus electromagnetic energy in its chambers. It then concentrates the electromagnetic energy in its lower levels located beneath the surface. Look at that, Don.
Yep, that's awesome, isn't it?
I just can't imagine.
It's like laser cut. How the hell would somebody cut that?
And yeah, I mean, and it was
so precise that it's still
standing. Yeah. I mean,
it's not leaning to one side. It's not,
Right. It was like with absolute precision that it would be perfectly balanced in both halves. I don't know. Maybe this is eroded since it was cut, but still underneath that's just incredible.
Right.
All right. This is a massive monolith split with laser-like precision. Yeah. Tell me they did that with bronze chisels.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me that's how that happened. I know that these ancient craftsmen were incredibly adept and very good at what they did, but this is a precision that it's like literally mechanical precision.
Mm-hmm.
How would they do that?
You would have to have a plasma cutter to do that.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. Some things are built by ancient civilizations. Other stuff was found lying around. There's a mysterious massive rock in Saudi Arabia that's unlike anything you've ever seen. It seems to be split in half with laser-like precision. Although it's split in half, it appears to be perfectly balanced and features intricately carved symbols on its surface. It's called the Al-Nasla monolith. Wow. I mean, how do you explain that, folks? I just don't know. I mean, that really, even today, I would be amazed with our current ability that we'd be hard pressed to duplicate this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what scale we're looking at. I don't know, but it looks absolutely enormous. Even if it was only the size of a bus, that's still
right.
Incredible for an ancient civilization. And you can see, like, here's like some kind of dog,
right.
a person, and other things going on here. So it seems to have been done with purpose, like for whatever reason. This split was made.
If you look at that and you go, okay, well, if a human's standing, if that's chest height for a human to draw on there.
Sure, if that's
now it'd be like 12 feet tall.
Oh, it'd be like 15, 20, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I
don't know how big people were then. Maybe 5
erosion,
feet.
How did that erode? Now, if the bottom of that was where the dirt was,
right.
When they cut it and that eroded out, then of course it's going to be a lot shorter because people are standing higher.
But even then, if say it did erode out, it's so perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, even if could they have known if this was all soil?
Right.
Could they have known exactly the shape of this and calculated exactly where to cut that so it would remain balanced?
Right.
I don't know. That's just the kind of stuff that really shocks me. Cut with a diamond powder coated twine. With a diamond powder coated twine. Maybe. I mean, even then, could you imagine doing this with twine? Again, I don't know how big it is, but it looks enormous.
Right.
And I think it's incredibly thick as well. I don't think we're looking at a thin, sheet of
no, that's not just,
1 foot or 2 foot.
That's not shale.
Yeah. I mean, this looks like a boulder that was probably already clean faced on this one.
Right.
But it was precisely cut and remains balanced.
Well, I mean, even back then though, they had metal like baling wire. They had wire back then.
Okay.
Because you've seen the pictures of the dental work that was done with the wires, and the teeth were taken out and they were wired back in.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
We've talked about it several times.
Oh,
anyhow,
okay.
So I mean, a metal, as Rachel says, if it was a diamond powdered metal saw like thing, because we have saws like that to this day. As a matter of fact, carbide stone cutters are basically a carbide bit with a diamond grit on them. I don't know how to explain it. That's what it is.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not something new by any means.
Sure.
So diamonds have been used to cut stone forever.
Yeah.
But that's a big freaking stone.
Yeah, that's so huge. Wow. I think it's amazing. Egads. Late again. Well, welcome, Slowpoke.
Well, there you go. Slowpoke's in the house.
At least you're staying true to your name. Just kidding. It's great you're here. Thank you. But yeah, I think that kind of stuff. Just and then you look at Puma Punka again,
right?
In South America and the laser precision they've got there.
Now that you brought that up, I was reading something about a plant that could create enough heat that it actually melted stone.
Really?
So you look at those those perfect blocks that are cut and then placed, and I got to remember it was just something I read. I didn't even really pay attention to it for whatever reason. So but there you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's a plant that some way can actually melt stone, that's like a thermite plant or
right,
something.
Exactly. That's why I was trying to remember the name of that. He's a thermite. Yeah.
And the next one is some things were built by ancient civilizations. Others, I already read that. Sorry. This is the Mohenjo-Daro. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but that's as close as I'm going to get. Mohenjo-Daro was discovered in 1992 when Indian archaeologist R. Banardzi found the ancient ruins on the banks of the Indus River. Built around 2500 BCE, it was one of the largest settlements of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, and one of the world's earliest major cities, contemporaneous with ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Minoan Crete, and North Chico. Its level of development was beyond anything that existed at the time. Yeah, I mean, that's ambitious. That's crazy. I mean, it's hard to imagine what it actually looked like,
Right.
with just these, short walls all remaining, or if there's much more to dig out yet. Does this just all been filled in over the millennia? But that's still, I mean, just these people were just incredible.
I think it is. I think those are like
The roofs?
the roofs have caved in, and
Sure.
just all the sand that's been moving through there, however that is.
Yeah.
And it's just been filled in, just like, every major find.
Yeah.
That has to be excavated. Like, so I think those are actually like living spaces or shops or things like that,
Right.
and they've just been filled in. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be neat, though? I mean, if it was possible just to grab, a device and just be able to look, into the history to see what
Right.
that looked like in its day.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me would be fascinating to see what it looked like versus what it is now. I mean, I guess they probably know or can give it a pretty good educated guess, but I just think that stuff is so amazing. Even when you look at artist renditions of ancient Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
like what the pyramids would have looked like back in those days, and the cultures surrounding it and stuff. Yeah, I am slow. Well, it's okay. I'm just glad you got here when you could. Thank you. The next is its level of development. A catastrophic event of epic proportions supposedly destroyed the city and its history, and as the History Channel's series Ancient Aliens suggest, aliens may have aided the destruction of the city. Oh, really? I don't know about that. That seems like a pretty bold stretch. But anyway, I don't know what Georgie was thinking of then.
Where was that? What country is that in? In the Indus River.
Indus River, the banks of the Indus River. I don't know. Wherever that is.
All right, so let me look something up.
Sure.
But please go ahead.
A rock sample from Oklo in Gabon is the world's oldest and only natural reactor. This is one you've talked about
we've
before.
talked about that, yeah.
It says, but if tales of aliens destroying cities may not have sounded bizarre, check this out. In 1972, researchers exploring Africa discovered what was later confirmed to be a 2-billion-year-old nuclear reactor. It wasn't made by aliens or prehistoric Einstein civilizations, but rather the Mother Nature. You can read more about the natural reactor here. There's a link, but I guess we should. Basically, I don't know no, I guess we should just open this and take a look quick. I'm not going to read the whole thing. And it says, after I blow it up, I'll tell you what it says. It's not readable. Now it's readable. Physicist Francis Perrin sat at a nuclear fuel processing plant down on the south of France, thinking to himself, this cannot be possible. It was 1972. On one hand, there was a dark piece of radioactive natural uranium ore extracted from a mine in Africa. On the other, accepted scientific data about the constant ratio of radioactive uranium in ore. Examination of this high-grade ore from a mine in Gabon was found to contain a lower proportion of uranium-235, or U-235, the fissure sorts, only a tiny bit less, but enough to make the researchers sit back and scratch their heads. The physicist's first logical response to such an unusual ratio was that it was not natural uranium. All natural uranium contains 0.720% of U-235. If you were to extract it from the Earth's crust or from rocks from the moon or in meteorites, that's what you would find. But that bit of rock from Oklo contained only 0.717%. What did this mean? At first, all the physicists could think was that the uranium ore had gone through artificial fission, that some of the 235 isotopes had been forced to split in a nuclear chain reaction. Could this explain why the ratio was lower than normal? But after complementary analysis, Perrin and his peers confirmed The uranium ore was completely natural. Even more bedazzling, they discovered a footprint of fission products in the ore. The conclusion, the uranium ore was natural and had gone through fission. There was only one possible explanation. The rock was evidence of natural fission that occurred over 2 billion years ago. After more studies included on-site examinations, they discovered that the uranium ore had gone through fission on its own. Curator of the rock collection at Vienna's Natural History Museum, where part of this curious rock will be presented to the public in 2019, there was no other explanation. For such a phenomena to have happened naturally, these uranium deposits in western equatorial Africa must have had to contain a critical mass of uranium-235 to start the reaction. Back in those days, they did. A second contributing factor was that for a nuclear chain reaction to happen and be maintained, there needed to be a moderator, in this case, water. Without water to slow the neutrons down, controlled fission would not have been possible. The atoms would simply not have split. Like in a man-made light water nuclear reactor, the fission reactions, without anything to slow down the neutrons to moderate them, simply stop. So that's a little bit of what they found in that site. I just wanted to read a little bit because it's incredibly brief and vague in that article. Mm-hmm. So there you have it. Did you have something you wanted to...
Did you want me to read that about the...
What are we reading about, Pumapunka or what?
Oh, no. The Indus River. I was looking.
Oh, yeah. Where is it?
So it's... let's see here. It flows through a wide plain. It goes through the Tibetan Plateau, Singe Zangbu, the Gar River area, the Arabian Sea. So it like goes through a whole long way.
Did you find out where Mohenjo-Daro was?
That's what I need to look up now.
Yeah. Okay.
And for some reason, okay.
Mohenjo Daro.
Here we go.
Here we go.
All right. So, welcome to Don's Slow Computer.
Starring Don.
This thing.
This portion of the Paranormal Portal was brought to you by the letters O, M, and G. Thank you. All right. Well.
All right. So, meaning the Mount of Dead Men.
Oh,
wow.
That's what they named it? The Mount of Dead Men.
It's an archaeological site in the province of Sindh, Pakistan.
Oh, it's in Pakistan.
So it's in Pakistan, yeah.
Okay.
The site was not rediscovered until 1920s.
What do they mean rediscovered? It's been
well, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was lost and then it was found.
Lost.
Okay.
You know what? Yeah. Gosh. Anyhow, what else was I looking up?
I don't know where we were going with it now. To be honest,
yeah, I'm kind of lost.
I kind of lost myself.
Anyhow, but that's great about the nuclear fission.
Yeah,
because we've read about that a couple times. So it's in Pakistan, by the way. So
okay,
Mohenjo, yeah.
So these are Malta cart ruts. These are Malta's cart ruts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously in stone now, but it was obviously not stone when the cart ruts were made.
Right.
All right, let's see what this says. Malta cart ruts. There is a prehistoric site in Sigui, Malta, near the Dingley Cliffs, called Misra Gar Il Kabir, known for a series of curious tracks embedded in the stone. Dubbed by experts cart ruts, they are a complex network of tracks gouged in the rock. Mm-hmm. The age and purpose of these tracks are uncertain. Most archaeologists presume that the site developed around 2000 BC after new settlers came over from Sicily to start the Bronze Age in Malta. It's like, hey, come on, guys, we got to go start the Bronze Age. Let's go.
We've got this great new idea.
Yeah. But other experts, such as Russian geologist Dr. Alexander Koltypin, suggest the mystery tracks could be millions of years old, and even evidence of advanced ancient civilizations that existed on Earth before written history. Could be millions of years old, Don.
Nice.
There you go.
Millions of years old.
Right.
So,
I keep bringing up the London Hammer, 300 million years old, allegedly, when that rock was soft enough to put a hammer into it and have it. So, I don't know. Anyway, did I finish that? Yeah, before written history. All right, here's the next one. I have watched a documentary on this one a long time ago. I can't say documentary, but I think it was on the Learning Channel, or maybe it was Josh Gates on Expedition Unknown or whatever, where they looked into these. And I think, well, on that program, the consensus was no, these are naturally occurring. I don't know how they're so precise, but apparently it's naturally occurring. There's a mysterious underwater monolith near the coast of Japan that some have dubbed Japan's Atlantis. Referred to as the underwater monument of Yonaguni, the submerged structure resembles a massive submerged pyramid. The alleged structure was discovered for the first time by scuba instructor Kachiro Arataki. Some experts argue that the structure which is now submerged, is evidence of complex civilizations inhabiting our planet before the last ice age. Look at that knife. Now that's a knife.
That's not
All right. And some bizarre stories of aliens, natural nuclear reactions, and pyramids that generate electricity. We've got a massive knife supposedly discovered by divers underwater. Not much can be said about the image and its contents. It appeared on social networks, Facebook, Reddit, and Pinterest, and shows three divers apparently holding what seems to be a gigantic knife-like object. Some argue it's fake. Others say it's not and point out that artifacts like this one force us to rethink our understanding of humanity's long-lost history. I would just say this. So in some unseen future time, people are digging up our time.
Right.
And they come across huge scissors that we use for like mall openings and stuff. Are they going to think, oh my God, they were giant people. Look at these scissors. Look at that big chair that they had. You know, those big oversized chairs. You know, the fun things that we did. Is it too hard to believe that maybe somebody had made a big knife? Maybe they had a shop, a blacksmith, something.
Right.
Where they were just making something huge and oversized just for the sake of, you know, a sign or
grandiosity.
Yeah, just you know, I don't think the ancient people were any different than us. Like they had the same kind of thoughts. How do I get people to notice my shop? I'm going to put a big knife up there. So I don't know that this necessarily is something that hugely unexplainable, unless it's dated so far back. But even then, I mean, it's probably just somebody's attempt at being, you know, ironic or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my like a shop sign. Yeah, Paul Holland says. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be beyond the scope of possibility. And, you know, it would get people's attention. And probably spin a few really interesting yarns. So anyway, let's see. What was this one? A rare mask made out of alien metals was discovered off the coast of Florida. Yikes, alien metals. According to experts, it's dated back to at least 10,000 years and was built in South America using a rare combination of metals, of which the most interesting one is iridium. The mask is thought to have been one of many artifacts transported from South America to Europe, but the ship that was carrying the objects sank near Florida. The mask was most likely stolen thousands of years ago by Spanish tomb raiders. Mm-hmm. Again, it doesn't tell us much about the mask. But I don't know, is iridium alien or what? I'm going to look this up.
It's like King Tut's knife. He had a knife that was made out of alien metal.
Yeah.
And it was made from the core of a meteorite that they had found.
Oh.
So, alien metal.
Okay.
So, I mean, it could just be just something as simple as that.
Well, I'm here to tell you that this might be the Hulk mask, because apparently iridium, as it decays, releases gamma rays. So if you wear the mask, you might end up really puffy and green. But yeah, I don't know. But this has just been a look at some really strange things. I don't know. You know, the article's extraordinarily brief and gives the 30,000-foot view of everything. Right. But these are some interesting things that if you're into this kind of stuff, I think it's worth looking into, because I honestly do believe that there is a whole history that we don't know about. And I don't think it's necessarily a cover up. I just think it's the arrogance of science. That we know all about the past, and now we're, there's an arrogance in our scientific communities, and whatever the science is. It could be geology, it could be archaeology, it could be, natural histories, any number of them. I mean, there's this hubris that exists where when they think they have the answers, they don't want to ask the questions anymore, and they hate when a question comes up.
Right.
And because it challenges their valuable knowledge. And I think that arrogance is detrimental in the long run, because I think we are missing out on a whole long and amazing history of what has happened here before. That's my own opinion. I'm no expert. I can't even say that that's an educated opinion. It's just my gut reaction.
Right.
But I think that these kind of things at least raise enough questions to go, wait a minute, there's more going on here, and it's worth looking into. But I don't know. It's tough, because the older things get, the less of them there are around. Like, I don't think we're going to find more hammers embedded in rocks. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I mean, that was kind of this happened, and it's weird, and we don't know what it means, but it may mean that there was people or somebody here making tools a hell of a lot earlier than we thought anybody was here doing anything like that. So I think that stuff is really interesting and thought-provoking, and it's my opinion.
There you go.
And that's just what you get when I got a microphone. You get a whole lot of me. I mean, does that make sense?
It does, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Happy Dog Lady says she agrees. Well, thank you, Happy Dog Lady. I appreciate that. I think it's at least worth asking the questions, looking at the evidence that's out there. And that's why I love Ancient Aliens. I love that show, because I don't necessarily think it's all aliens, but I think there was a lot going on here that's just been brushed under the rug because it's inconvenient.
Right.
It's inconvenient to the narrative, and there's people resting on this big heap of knowledge that don't want to do the work. They want to rest on the laurels of their work they already did do. And science is funded, ladies and gentlemen. Bottom line, science is funded. And if it doesn't go along with the funding, then
it doesn't get
scienced.
It doesn't get found.
You can't science it if it doesn't get money.
So are you ready for the alien invasion?
I think, I'm ready for you to tell me about it.
Oh, well.
Are you ready to tell me about it?
Sure.
All right, let's
We're
go to
almost done with the night. We might as well get into this real quick.
Let's go to the beard cam for this.
So, apparently there's a time traveler from 2714 that claims space aliens will invade the Earth beginning on August 11th.
Ooh.
And this was written by somebody in Japan or Australia or somewhere over there, because we already know that they're already in tomorrow. As a matter of fact, they're getting ready to get into our tomorrow. Anyhow, so this was written on August 12th, 2021, and it goes like this. From the "you could have given us a little more warning" files comes this is written by Paul Seaburn, who is writes for Mysterious Universe, as well as our friend Brent Swanser.
Yeah.
So, news that yet another TikTok time traveler has risen to the top of the heap by revealing what's going to happen in the future. In this case, as of this writing, August 11th, or today, according to the aesthetic time warper, who says, "I am here to help humanity. There's a lot you need to know. One of the things we needed to know about a lot sooner is this. Tomorrow is the day. There will be a very large meteor shower that lasts for 2 weeks. It is visible from the northern hemisphere and will contain the Nozick message. One of the meteors will look different than all the others because it's a spaceship landing on Earth, starting preparations for the first Nozick War." Wait a minute, you say. Probably multiple times. Could he be referring to the I always say this wrong, Perseid meteor shower going on right now? Good observation. The annual event has begun. Why didn't this time traveler refer to it by name? Your second "wait a minute" was probably due to the reference of the Nozick War. Another TikTok time traveler, that one-time traveler, who claimed to be from the year 2485, warned in April that the Nirons are coming from Neptune in 5 years, and a war with them will be will cause a pandemic called the Nozick virus.
Those damn neurons.
What did we do to tick off the residents of Neptune? Apparently, we haven't done it yet. It appears the war will be started in the near future by something we say or do to the Nyrons. Not exactly a surprise. There's a lot more you need to know to help humanity. Who decided to shove this guy in a time machine with a to-do list from the future? And what makes them think that we'll listen to someone on TikTok instead of a world leader or a giant hologram or a guest on a cable talk show or a Kardashian? And what else do we need to know? Well, aesthetic time warper knows his or her "Why don't we see any female time travelers?" audience. On Ask Me Anything post, he says each dose of the coronavirus vaccine takes about 6 years off of your life and will cause you to be more susceptible to other illnesses. He also revealed on TikTok post that Atlantis will be found in the year 2022.
Wow.
Aliens infiltrate the world's government in 2023, and the colonization of Mars begins in 2028. And then there's this one. 8 humans will receive powers on October 20th,
Yes.
2021. There will be 9 people who receive powers, but only 8 will survive to the next day.
Jeez.
There's a misunderstanding causing the public to have killed the 9th person. And killed is K*LLED. People, why are people afraid to spell words?
I don't know.
And when people mispronounce words like caulking, 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 to caulk. Why do they spell it C*CK? Because they don't know how to spell in the first place. They're afraid to say cock a gun, to cock a gun. What's wrong with that? Anyhow, so I digress. I'm so mad about the way things go.
Apparently.
So anyhow, there's a misunderstanding causing the public to have the 9th person killed. The powers will consist of telepathy, telekinesis, pure strength, enhanced endurance, and talking to animals.
Nice.
But as you know, all good things come with bad, and some will wreak havoc on the earth for power.
Jerks.
There are names of people who will receive the powers: North America, Emma Smythe, Jack Connor. What was the name of the kid in Terminator? John Connor.
John Connor.
Coincidence? And Luke Johnson. South America, Selena Castro. Europe, Alex Molnar. Xander Martin. Asia, Sakayo Zhang. Australia, hey, if anybody in Australia knows a Harvey Turner, let me know. Africa, Isaiah Crumedy. These are the names of the people who will get these powers.
They don't even get secret identities?
No,
Man.
apparently. Well, they're already shot. You know,
Yeah,
that's what happens.
screwed that.
2475, here I come. I'm just gonna blast it out there. Put them on Front Street. Poor guys. Now we know why they got killed, or one of them got killed because big mouth time traveler. Wait a minute! You scream a few more times. Wouldn't someone from 2714 know that it's wreak havoc, not wreak havoc? Oh, apparently he spelled it incorrectly too. I missed that one. And why did he self-censor the word kill? Gosh. Do they still have internet censors in 2714? And doesn't this prediction sound familiar? It definitely does. Javier, the unicorse, that's in Spanish. Oh, it's the word Spanish only survivor. The TikTok time traveler who claims he's stuck in 2027 with no one else around made the same prediction 2 weeks ago, albeit without the names and details. Are the TikTok time travelers trying to outdo each other? For what end? TikTok views?
They're trying to go viral.
Are any of these real time travelers? That seems highly unlikely. Could they all be one person? If it is, it's one very busy TikToker. It seems more likely that is the number of people stuck in 2021 with nothing better to do than attempt to hoax already nervous human beings with dystopian predictions that they don't have enough imagination to create themselves, are resorting to blatant plagiarisms. I hope that Aesthetic Time Warper apologizes to all those people he named when they don't get superpowers on October the 20th.
There'll be some disappointed
Maybe they
people.
should threaten to wreak, R-E-E-K, wreak havoc on him or her. As for the alien invasion and the meteor shower on August 11th, we won't have long to wait to verify this revelation. So we're going to find out yesterday or today. Wait. Told you so. It's wreck havoc. Yes, we already know. Anyhow, so the TikTok time traveler, aesthetic, whatever his name was, I've already forgotten it. Time traveler, aesthetic time traveler, has said that there is a. So the Perseid meteor shower happens once a year, and then there's another one that happens like 6 months later. I can't remember what that one's called, but it's not as prevalent as the Perseid. So now we've had Hale Bopp and the alien invasion, or the aliens that were behind Hale Bopp, Heaven's Gate, of course. Now we've got this one was the Perseid, invasion. Who knows? But let's go back up. The Nozick Wars. Now, guess what movie I just watched recently?
I don't know.
There is this movie. Oh, I closed my window. I'm such an idiot. Somehow I closed the stream, so now I have to go to YouTube. Anyhow, I just watched The Tomorrow War. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't. No.
I don't want to put any spoilers out there, but this harkens to something that happens in The Tomorrow War.
Oh. Okay.
So
gotcha.
Yeah. People coming back and telling us things. So
it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, well,
it's been a Hollywood plot forever. So
that's true. Yeah, it really has.
Yeah.
Even what was it? The Minority Report.
Yeah, Minority Report. Yeah.
That's how far back that goes. Much farther, I'm sure. But interesting stuff.
It is interesting.
Who is Rex Carlson? I don't know who Rex Carlson is.
Not sure. Why?
I know who Randall Carlson is. He's the he's really into the golden ratio and things like that. And him and Graham Hancock are pretty good friends too. So
okay.
But anyhow, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to close with a Mysterious Universe article as well.
Sweet.
MysteriousUniverse.org is a great place, ladies and gentlemen, if you're into the Fortean, bizarre, paranormal, supernatural. Amazing articles, amazing writers. Of course, Paul Seberg wrote the one that Don just read. And our good friend Brent Swanser wrote this one. And this is going into his archives a little bit. No, I guess not. It's from August 3rd. And this is The Strange Case of the Winsted Wild Man of Connecticut. And we all love a good Bigfoot yarn. And maybe not a yarn at all. But anyway, I do want to say, if you want to keep up with Brent Swanser, check out his Facebook group at Dark League Paranormal. He's on there all the time. Great guy, posting articles that he's doing. They have a great community of people participating, so give him a shot. And check out the Paranormal Portal fans page as well, as if you're on YouTube, or on Facebook, rather. But let's get into this article. It was written August 3rd, 2021, so it's relatively recent. It's The Strange Case of the Winsted Wild Man of Connecticut. The phenomenon of Bigfoot covers a far wider range than many people might even be aware of. These creatures have been spotted in nearly every state of the Union, as well as countries all over the world, truly making it a widespread phenomenon traversing across cultures and geographic divides. One place in the United States that many may not immediately think of as a hotspot.
Wow.
There it goes. All right, we're back. And we're back. I'm not sure where it got off. One place in the United States that many people may not immediately think of as a hotspot of Bigfoot phenomenon is the state of Connecticut. Yet even here, there have long been stories such as these. One such case comes from the rural areas of a place called Winsted, and concerns a spate of sightings of a hairy wild man who would catapult the region into a panic and spur on debate as to whether any of it ever happened or not. It's not a valid menu option. Here's another one. It says, on August 27th, 1895. Now, this is a very old case, obviously. The local newspaper, the Winsted Evening Citizen, reported a very strange case from the wilds of Winsted, Connecticut. The report concerned a witness named Riley Smith who had been out taking a hike with his bulldog picking berries when he saw a large man, stark naked and covered with hair all over his body, ran out of a clump of bushes. At this time, his dog had cowered behind him, utterly terrified, and the strange hulking creature allegedly moved at lightning speed and could make great leaps, the report would spectacularly read in parts. Last Saturday, Selectman Riley Smith went up to Colebrook on business. Mr. Smith, while there, went over into the fields and began picking and eating berries from the low bushes in the field. While he was stooping over to pick up berries, his bulldog, which is noted for its pluck, I love those old figures of speech, ran with a whine to him and stationed itself between his legs. A second afterward, a large man, stark naked and covered with hair all over his body, ran out of a clump of bushes at lightning speed where he soon disappeared. Selectman Smith is a powerful, wiry man and has a reputation for having lots of sand. And I don't even know what that means. That's awesome.
Guts.
Yeah,
a lot of fortitude.
Yeah, I knew the inflection, but it was just funny, that figure of speech. And his bulldog is also noted for his pluck, but Riley admits that he was badly scared and his dog was fairly paralyzed with fear. The witness was described by the writer of the report, Lou Stone, as being one who is known to be honest and not prone to spinning dull tales. This remarkable report was followed up on the following week by the Evening Citizen's sister publication, the Winsted Herald, which would add more to the report, and which read, "The story of the Wild Man caused quite a little excitement about town. There's little to add to the story, except to say that Mr. Smith states that the man was within a small cleared space, which was surrounded by bushes. Mr. Smith did not see him until the dog whined and ran between his legs. Mr. Smith said the man's hair was black and hung down long on his shoulders, and that his body was thickly covered with black hair. The man was remarkably agile, and to all appearance was a muscular, brawny man, a man against whom any ordinary man would stand little chance. It was leaping high in the air and emitting fearful cries, and suddenly he disappeared into the woods. The long black hair on his head streaming out behind him as he took flight. Mr. Smith is a man who talks but little. He's a man of undoubted pluck and nerve, and his word is first class. When Mr. Smith says he saw the man, he did see him, and there can be no question about it. Quite a number of men in Winsted today stated to us that they were ready to go and hunt for the man. Well, gentlemen, the way is open. If he is still there, he ought, for the sake of the isolated farmers there and the women folks, to be captured." When these reports hit the news, there were soon more such reports of people encountering what was being called the Winsted Wild Man. And as the news spread, the region began to attract droves of reporters and curiosity seekers. People began seeing the menacing hairy man lurking about all over the place, not only in the woods, but sometimes in people's own backyards. Soon it was causing a bit of a mass hysteria. One report would read, "George Hoskins says he saw the wild man leaving his hen house with 2 hens under his arms." Jim Madraw proclaimed that he took a Kodak picture of a man with a mass of hair on his head but none on his body. Jim explained his condition by stating his camera was so frightened it couldn't see straight. 2 ladies from New York, while in town, witnessed a large animal crossing their path, turn and stand on its hind legs and stare at them. They were in belief that the wild man was an ape or a baboon. The chief of police, Steve Wheeler, claimed he tracked the gorilla man into the swamp before he lost the trail and scent. One taxpayer expressed the hope that it was really the devil trying to scare the selectman Smith so he wouldn't spend much time in this town's money. Speculation at this time as to what the mysterious creature could be was running rampant. Some thought it was an escaped ape, and others said it was perhaps a deranged escaped mental patient from the nearby Litchfield Sanitarium. Or Litchfield, rather. And the sightings kept coming in, and even local chief of police Steve Wheeler claimed to have seen it and tracked it to a swamp, and there was even one local even claiming to have photographed it. Descriptions of the monster seemed to vary from a man-like figure to something more brutishly ape-like, with some odd reports even adding flourishes that it sported formidable tusks. It even got to the point where many residents of the area were afraid to leave their own homes. cowering within and certain that the hulking beast was running amok out in the night. In the meantime, a reward for the creature had bands of armed individuals trouncing about looking to shoot at whatever moved, and it was quickly all getting out of control. One posse of up to 100 people armed to the teeth spread out in the autumn of 1895, with some of the members fired on what they thought to be a beast, which turned out to have been just a mule, now peppered with bullets and very dead. Fortunately, no people seem to have been harmed during the hysteria, but that is likely because most were hiding within the perceived safety of their own homes. A report in the Herald says of another such trigger-happy posse. The Scanieteles Fusiliers, 100 strong, with 2 Gatling guns, wow, and a military balloon, together with the Chemung Cavalry, 50 men, will arrive at West Winsted on the vestibule limited train, Gilt Edge, via the Reading Railroad. Oh, that was a real railroad, huh?
It was, yeah.
On Saturday to inaugurate a champion against the Jabberwock or Wild Man. Please have a very strong cage built, as we expect to get the above-mentioned individual and exhibit him in a dime museum. It appears this particular report was a hoax, as this reported militia seems to have never arrived. The reports and hysteria would go on for several weeks before slowly fading out of the news. Things calmed down, and although this rash of wild man reports have never been fully solved, it is almost certainly all started from the imagination of the journalist Stone, who published the first accounts, and indeed wrote most of the reports on the Winsted Wild Man. Stone would go on to become famous for his fanciful, bizarre stories, which helped to draw attention to Winsted, with him even once claiming that he had put Winsted on the map with his tales. Many of his news reports, that he would write over the decades up to his death in 1933, featured things such as talking dogs, a river that ran uphill, a chicken that laid red, white, and blue eggs on the 4th of July, a cow that could produce ice cream if placed in a freezer, various mysterious creatures of the area, and countless other unbelievable tales, like something one would find in a tabloid like the Weekly World News today. He would become notorious as a teller of ridiculous tall tales, and it is pretty much certain that the stories of the Winsted Wild Man, which was among his first work, were similarly a sham to pull people into the region and sell papers, and it certainly seemed to have worked. Amazingly, people would continue to insist that they had seen the Wild Man, and the creature would seemingly make another appearance in the region in 1972, when there was a report of a giant hairy man that was about 8 feet tall, covered with hair, and made a sound like a frog mixed with a cat, seen by 2 young men near Crystal Lake Reservoir. There would be another sighting in 1974 by 2 couples that had been parked at night by Rug Brook Reservoir, but a police investigation turned up nothing. It is unknown what connection these later reports have to the original accounts published by Stone, but it all serves to make it a bit weirder. What are we looking at with the Wild Man of Winsted? Did any of this happen at all, or is it just all the mass hysteria fueled by the fictional stories and imagination of a hoaxer? At the very least, it is all an intriguing historical oddity from a region many may not immediately relate with Bigfoot. Very good article. Man, they could whip up into a frenzy back in the day, huh?
Yes, they could.
Now you say, I saw Bigfoot, and people just, either, oh, really? Where'd you see him? I was out looking too. I saw one.
Just roll their eyes. Yeah.
Or they roll their eyes and say, whatever. Back in this day, it would have been enough to get a posse rolling. Just saying, folks, just saying. But I think that's a show, Don.
That's some strangeness right there.
We got buckets full of strangeness at all times here on the portal, ladies and gentlemen. And we hope you've had a good time with us. I hope you've enjoyed the journey. And don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow night with the Night Terrors. But, Don, anything in closing?
Nope.
Don's got nothing.
Don's got nothing.
Well, I got nothing more for you. Oh, thank you, Peyton. Appreciate it, brother. I appreciate that bunches. Good to see you. And thanks for finding us. Keep spreading the word, ladies and gentlemen, about the Paranormal Portal. Let everybody you know that loves the paranormal, let them know about us, because chances are they might like us a little bit too. Maybe. Just throwing it out there. But we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Love y'all bunches. I'll see you tomorrow night right here on YouTube, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Whatever that means to your time zone, of course, is what it means. But
there you go.
I'll be here at 7 my time, and I hope you'll join me. So at any rate, take care. Good night. Be safe, and welcome. Oh, thank you, Lunatic. Appreciate that. Brent, Don, thanks, guys. Great once again. Portal fam, blessings on y'all.
Thank
and
you.
Maggie says, thanks, Brent and Don. Great show. Thank you all. We appreciate you guys being here. Same time tomorrow. Yes, Bobby Simpson. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on YouTube on Wednesday through Sunday nights. I do live shows. Don's here for 2 of them, Wednesday night and Sunday night. Or Saturday night, rather.
Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night. Wednesday night and Friday night. Sorry, I knew I'd get it there eventually.
Oh, well.
This is what you get. All right, folks, that's all we got for you. Good night. Have a great tomorrow, and I'll be back tomorrow night again. So see you then.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.